Hi, I'm Scott from feedSCV, the Speakeasy Bakery, and SCV Foodies. This is another one in the continuing series of easy to make various dishes during this crisis that we're having. Today we're going to make a very simple marinara sauce, 5 ingredients, plus salt and pepper and olive oil. So you're going to need some olive oil. Item number 1, ingredient number 1, onion, some garlic. If you don't have fresh herbs, which I prefer, you can use dried herbs. You only have to use one, thyme or basil, depending upon your preference. I might use a little bit of both just to spice it up a little. A carrot, and a can of tomatoes. Any brand will do, whatever you have in your cupboard or your pantry. I just happen to have this one that we picked up, went to the market, and that was all they had. I usually like one of the Italian brands. Anyway, well, I guess it is an Italian brand. Okay, so special equipment or not so special equipment, you'll need some sort of pot. I like to have a prep dish or two, a knife, something to open that can with, something to microplane your carrot with, and I like to have something to scoop everything up with. So let's get going. All right, so the amount of ingredients you'll need is enough olive oil to coat the bottom of the pan, 1 onion. I like to use either a sweet yellow onion or a brown onion. About 2 to 4 cloves of garlic, depending upon the size of the garlic and depending upon how much garlic you like. If you're using fresh herbs, 3 tablespoons. Generally speaking, you're going to use 1 teaspoon of dry herbs to 1 tablespoon of fresh herbs. If you're using dry herbs, rub them between your hands so it'll kind of wake them up and get all the flavor you can out of that. Carrot, going to use about half the carrot, and the whole can, 20-ounce can of tomatoes. So let's start chopping things up. All right, so we've got all of our ingredients set in place, or mise en place, as the French like to say, and it's time to get rolling here. First, the onions and the garlic. Set your oil over a medium to medium-high heat and get it till it's nice and shimmery. Hit it with a little salt and pepper. Let it go for about 5 minutes with a couple of stirs every couple of minutes. You don't want the onions to get brown, you just want them to get translucent. Next, we're going to add the carrots and the herbs. These just have to go for about a minute till the carrots are more or less softened up. And last, in go the tomatoes. Now I got whole tomatoes. You can get the diced ones. You can actually use fresh tomatoes if you like. Sometimes the canned tomatoes, the flavor is a little bit more consistent. So we're gonna I've got the whole tomatoes, so I'm just gonna chop them up a little bit. Then you're gonna bring it to a simmer. Once it's at a simmer, turn the heat down to low and let it go for about 30 minutes. That's all you need for a marinara sauce. Meat sauces takes longer because you gotta cook the meat and flavor the meat. But with the marinara sauce, all all you have to do is go for about 30 minutes. And let it go for 30 minutes, come back and stir it every few minutes, and then we'll do the last step. It's been 30 minutes, so we're going to take it off heat. You could be done right now if you like it chunky. We happen to like it smooth, so I'm going to throw it into a blender and make it nice and smooth. A couple of flavor tips if you want to get adventurous. A little bit of red wine in there wouldn't hurt. If you like it a little bit spicy, some red pepper flakes. When I make sauce for a pizza, I usually toss in some red pepper flakes, so it's got that little bit of an edge to it. But now, as I said, we're gonna go ahead and take it over to the blender and smooth it up. Obviously it's pretty hot, so be careful as you're dumping it in. So I put the sauce back on heat, just very low heat, and I'm gonna add one more ingredient. Little butter. This is what the French call finishing a sauce. So once that's all melted in, we're finished.